Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. I'm John DeWanzik, and this is a regular meeting of the Avon Lake Board of Municipal Utilities. Joining me here tonight is the rest of the board. From my left, Mr. Mondella and Mr. Rush. To my right, Mr. Ricky and Mrs. Schnabel. Also with us here tonight is Chief Utilities Executive Rob Monroe to my right, and at the table, Chief of Utility Operations, Mr. Greg Urinich. Also at the table is outside counsel, Mr. Tony Coyne. In the audience tonight, we have Avon Lake citizens, Mr. Phillips and Mr. Zimmerman. Gentlemen, please sign if you haven't done. We have a full board here tonight, and it takes a vote of at least 3 to pass any motions that are made. All votes are taken by a voice vote, with the exception of a motion to go into executive session, which there is one scheduled tonight. So we'll do a voice vote at that time. There is an opportunity to input if you're watching us live stream on Facebook or LinkedIn. I'm sorry. Which is it? YouTube. There's an opportunity to give public input. If you're in the room, there's an opportunity to give public input at the same time. We limit you to 3 minutes in the beginning and 3 minutes at the end. Mr. Urinich will be monitoring the online input. Mr. Rush, did I miss anything?
No, I believe you did everything.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so having gone through the perfunctories, the first item in the agenda tonight is the approval of minutes from the May 6th meeting. Are there any comments on those? I have reviewed them and I have no comments. So hearing no others, we will consider them approved as submitted. At this time, it's opportunity for public speakers. Mr. Urinich, anything from the internet?
No comments yet, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlemen in the audience, anyone care to make public statements?
William Zimmerman. Do you guys care about the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city? Because Mr. Monroe and I had a discussion after I brought the coal 2 meetings ago. He offered to have me walk the field with him, as I invited all of you, and said I could possibly get a water sample out of the, I don't know what that small pond is that's right there on the property. He was out sick for a little bit. We had conversation when he returned, and then agreed that we would find a date and time to go do this. For 6 days now, he's ghosted me. I've called his office every day, and I've left messages. I'm sure he's gotten at least one. He's chosen not to return my calls. And I'm trying to get information for the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city. I don't understand that. Is that how you operate this business? You say one thing and then don't do it? And then don't talk about it? Don't return calls? That sounds like corruption to me. It's an ongoing fact. If I can call for 6 days and I don't get a response, I don't understand that. You tell me one thing out of the side of your mouth, and then you tell me something else after that. It's unprofessional. It's unconscionable as far as I'm concerned. In my line of work, we call fouls on ourselves. Penalties. I had a player have a ball roll a quarter of an inch, but because of his markings, we could tell that it had moved. He called a penalty on himself and prevented us from getting in the U.S. Open. But that was integrity. I don't know that you guys have that kind of integrity. That's disappointing. Because how else would you run your business except with integrity? Some point, somehow, some way, I still want my agreement with Mr. Monroe to be fulfilled so that I can go walk the coal field and get a sample of the pond. I'd like to have that done on multiple occasions so I can keep a record of it. I don't understand it.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Mr. Phillips, anything?
Sure. Gerald Phillips, concerned Avon Lake resident. I know there's been discussions both at the county level and here about 6119 and the joint sewer district. To my knowledge, it hasn't been formed yet. I think it's in the preliminary drafting stage. I know you had some executive sessions and you had some people from the county here. So I guess what I'd like to know is who's the best person that I can get update reports, the status from concerning the current situation of that 6119, so I can make the appropriate public records request. And then I'd like to talk about item 5 on the agenda. It's talking about sewer and water rates, which is a dear subject to me. It'd be helpful if in the handout we knew what they were. I don't know what they are. I don't know what the proposals are, okay? I'm not gonna know, I'm not gonna be able to comment because I don't have the information. So maybe we'll get it later, maybe I can comment at the end, but it would be very helpful if it would have been included in the package, okay? You know, I've looked at the water and sewer fund balances. Doesn't look like we need a lot of cash. I mean, if we really wanted cash, then why have we been buying properties like it's going out of style? We bought ALERG property, buying property, you know, just to the east of the power plant. And we already have 40 acres of land before we bought that, where the animal clinic, which is vacant. So I do have a ledger and I did get information. I don't know why this board is decided to be in the land investment business. You're going to raise our rates because what? You got $30 million tied up in land. So very important. I'd like to see what those rates are and the justification for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Mr. Urinich, anything from the,
That was not, Mr. Chairman.
I urge you, Mr. Phillips, to stay tuned and you'll have the answers to your questions. Let's see. Next item is correspondence, Mr. Monroe.
I do not have any correspondence this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Next item then is the expenditures on your goldenrod sheets. Would someone like to make the motion?
I will.
Okay, Mr. Ricky.
I move to accept the expenditures from May 2nd through May 15th, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Ricky. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Schnabel. Discussion. Yes. Mr. Mondello.
Quick question just on the Randall's lawn care. You look line 56, 57 on the front page. Did they get behind on billing or did we get behind on paying?
Greg.
That I can look into. I'm not sure if the bill just came in late or if it just overlapped, but those are for 2 separate months. I'm
Right.
sorry.
It appears to me that they because of the way it's marked 1 of 8 and 2 of 8, they just billed us at the same time. But we'll get back to you, and let you know for sure, but I believe that's the case.
Anything else, Mr. Mondello?
No.
Mr. Rush?
Yes, it shows up a couple times, 701, line 59. Vedantis, there's a couple of property assessment studies spread over a couple different accounts. Can you refresh my memory?
Yeah, these are, those invoices represent the ongoing work for our no further action letter and our covenant not to sue that we're going to seek from the Ohio EPA for the property that we purchased.
Okay.
So Verdantis is, and we will be submitting all eligible costs for reimbursement under a grant.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Rush?
No, that's all I have.
Mr. Schnabel, Mr. Ricky, anything? Mr. Ricky?
Just a quick question. Jones Chemical, $23,100, line 26. Are those cylinders?
Correct.
And what are we paying now for a ton of chlorine? I mean, how many cylinders is that? Do we,
It's usually 6 cylinders is what we get. I believe it's 1,800 approximately.
okay.
1,875. I think
Are we
was the
limited
most
to how much
recent.
chlorine we can keep on site?
Correct.
So
12 tons.
12 tons is our, whatever, I don't even know what permit that it requires, but 12 tons we can keep on site. Is there a limit for sodium hypochlorite that we'll be able to keep on property?
No.
That's as much as you want to hold.
That's one of the big advantages from a safety standpoint. And when Mr. Yurnich says 12 tons, they include our empty cylinders. So it's a juggling act as far as ordering chlorine and ensuring that we have enough on hand. So the risk management plan for the chlorine gas cylinders will go away with the sodium hypochlorite is put
Okay.
online.
And they take the cylinders back when they bring new ones?
Yes.
So that's usually how they swap them out?
Yes.
Okay. Very good, thank you.
That's all, Mr.
Yeah.
Schnabel?
I did have one on the very back page on 704, just work at Walker Road Park. What was that?
That was part of our obligation. If you recall, last year, as part of our build out on our infrastructure for our new meter system, we needed to put a repeater in that area of town. So the city of Bay Village at their service garage had an antenna that they allowed us to put our equipment on at no charge in exchange for that. Because Walker Road Park is a joint venture between Avon Lake and Bay. We did some water improvements there
Okay.
for future use. So
Okay.
that's what those costs represent.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Schnabel?
That was it.
I have nothing else. Is there anyone else with second thoughts? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
They are approved. Okay, next item is a resolution of appreciation. Mr. Monroe.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do have a resolution of appreciation to recognize Mr. Gaydar for his service with our organization. And I will read that and for our viewers out
For the
there.
record.
Yes, for the record. But whereas Jack R. Gaydar, professional engineer, professional surveyor, has served Avon Lake Regional Water with distinction and dedication as the engineering services manager since December 16th, 2002. And whereas Mr. Gaydar brought to his position a wealth of professional knowledge and experience as a licensed professional engineer, professional surveyor, and certified professional operator, consistently demonstrating the highest standards of technical competence. And whereas during his tenure, Mr. Gaydar played a vital role in the planning, development, and execution of numerous infrastructure and capital improvement projects that has significantly enhanced the reliability, efficiency, and sustainability of the water and wastewater systems serving the Avon Lake service area for the health, safety, and welfare of the public. And whereas Mr. Gaydar has exemplified public service through his collaborative approach, his thoughtful leadership, and his unwavering commitment to the mission of Avon Lake Regional Water and the public it serves. And whereas his contributions have left a lasting legacy on the organization, including improvements in engineering processes, project management, and long-term planning that will benefit future generations. And whereas the Board of Municipal Utilities wishes to recognize and express its sincere appreciation for Mr. Gaydar's dedicated service and many contributions to the success of Avon Lake Regional Water. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Municipal Utilities that we do hereby extend our heartfelt gratitude and commendation to Mr. Gaydar on his retirement. Be it further resolved that this resolution be made a permanent part of the official records of the board, and that a copy be presented to Mr. Gaydar as a token of the board's appreciation and best wishes for a fulfilling and well-deserved retirement. In testimony whereof, the Avon Lake Board of Municipal Utilities affixes their signatures hereon this 20th day of May, 2025.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Monroe. I think the board joins me in commending the service of Mr. Gaydar, and certainly has set a standard for the position, which I think he was the originator of. I've asked, I actually prepared a press release to send out for the public announcement of this, but it would be appropriate at this time. Any board members would like to further express their appreciation of Mr. Gaydar in the meeting, and then there is a motion that we will follow through with after that. So if anyone would like to make any remarks of their own at this time.
I'll say just a couple words. I've known Jack for the 10 years that I've been on the board, and he's been nothing but great to work with, and always just so willing to explain things to me. And through various meetings over the 10 years, it's been great getting to know him. He's been such an asset to this organization, and I do wish him well, and we will miss him for sure around here. So we just really appreciate everything he's done for the organization.
Thank you, Mrs. Schnabel. Mr. Rush.
I would just echo those comments. He's been an asset to the organization over these several decades, quite frankly. Thank you.
Mr. Rush, I'm sorry, Mr. Monroe, I'm speaking of assets. One of the things that Mr. Gaydar pioneered, I suppose, in the organization is the asset tracking. Would you care to amplify that at all?
Yeah, I mean, the strides that were made in the engineering services group have been, just tenfold from the time that Jack began here. Moving into a GIS, our GIS system with tracking our assets. There was, as they say, that institutional knowledge walking out the door. But I can assure you that I'm very confident that Mr. Gaydar has it documented somewhere, and really embracing our quality initiative over the last 7 years. And he was the one that spearheaded the template for the standard operating procedures that we use, has our revision histories on it, and he kept the as we called it, the holy grail of all SOPs across the organization. But again, it's a testament to him and his dedication and his work effort that he brought every day. So, from a staff perspective, we certainly will miss having Jack here from a professional level as well as a personal level. And Jack and I personally shared a common bond, both coming from Pennsylvania, and believe it or not, a very good friend of mine. I found out early on here, Jack went to school with him. So we had that instant connection. And all I would say is if Jack is happening to listen out there, ooh, Baron, ooh, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Monroe. The board has been advertising for an anticipated senior engineer for exceeding to this role in the expected retirement of Mr. Gaydar, but this came as somewhat as a surprise. But employment is a tricky thing, and you never know who, when, and where, what circumstances arise that you have to replace it. But at least we're not starting from zero, so we don't expect the position to be open for very long. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So we have a recommended motion, which I'll be happy to make, and I'd like a second when I'm done. I move to pass a resolution of appreciation dated May 20th, 2025 for Jack Gaydar. Furthermore, the Board of Municipal Utilities instructs the CUE to present Mr. Gaydar with a fully executed copy of said resolution. May I have a second? Let's go with Mr. Rush in this case. Then is there further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
We will pass the motion, and I'm sure you'll give them some kind of like high quality output of it. So,
Yes.
okay. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Mr. Gaydar, if you're watching. The next item is the 2026 water and sewer rates. Mr. Monroe.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Mr. Phillips had touched on earlier, I do have a few slides that I will put up, as we talk about what we're thinking for 2026 as far as water and sewer rates. Our water rate remains the lowest of incorporated cities in the state of Ohio, which we're very proud of. Our sewer rate is in about the 30th percentile of those same compared data set. But we do have adequate reserve funds and positive cash flow. And that's a testament to this board and staff that, take it very seriously, their ongoing fiduciary responsibility for the budget, controlling expenses. So as you can see, no rate increase for 2026 is what we are proposing. Having said that, we do have an adjustment to the minimum service fee for water and sewer. Currently, the water minimum service fee is $7.97 per bill. The sewer is $24.31 per bill. What we are proposing is to increase the water minimum service fee to $8.37 per bill, or a 40-cent increase. And on the sewer side, $25.53 per bill. The minimum service fee does include the first 2,000 gallons of usage for a customer. So overall, it's a total increase to the minimum service charge of $1.62 per bill. The minimum service
Per
charge,
quarter.
well, per bill, primarily on residential, but we do have monthly customers that it would apply per bill on a monthly basis. Because our minimum service fee covers our fixed costs. While we do account for the first 2,000 gallons of usage in there, the remaining amount goes towards, we still have to read meters. We have to generate bills. The water is there at a hydrant if it's needed, whether you use any water at your house or not. So I think it's a very modest increase. It equates to, and I'll get to it here in a couple of slides, but the overall, it's about a 1% increase. And if we compare this year's Cleveland Construction Cost Index that we use on calculating some of our fees, which is an inflationary factor, this year, the Cleveland Construction Cost Index actually went down by 1%, but last year it went up by over 4%. Again, I think the 1% increase is overall to an overall bill appropriate. This shows what the average bill is. And when we say average bill, we are referring to a residential customer. The average bill is approximately 15,000 gallons of usage in a quarter. So it is a quarterly. And you can see the breakdown there. What currently we're talking $158.38 for a quarter. So for 3 months. With the adjustments to the minimum service fee, it would take it up to $160 per quarter. So again, if you annualize that over the course of a year, it's an additional $6.48 for an average customer. And I do want to show a graphic that we compare our water and our sewer rates to other utilities in our area. There are a couple, as I call them, the 3 Cs, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus. We want to get an idea of how we compare with the large utilities. But as you can see on the left of this graph, the water rate for Avon Lake is much lower than several of our other utilities. When you talk about the minimum service charge, again, comparing to all the other utilities that charge minimum service, on the water side, us charging currently $7.97. You can see there are utilities that are charging upwards of $57 in a quarter. There's a lot of extrapolating with the data because some utilities bill monthly. So we have to extrapolate that out to compare with us, which is quarterly. Others bill in hundreds of cubic feet, whereas we bill in per 1,000 gallons. The conversion there is 1 cubic foot is 748 gallons. So doing those conversions, but again, we put it into our.
7.48.
We put it into
7.48.
7.48.
per 100 cubic foot.
It's 2
Per
pages.
100 cubic,
above
per
it.
100 cubic foot.
Okay,
I may have misspoke.
yes.
Per 100 cubic foot is 748 gallons.
Right.
That's
There's even one of the utilities that bills in 1,000 cubic foot. So, and then on the sewer side, you can see a similar trend. As we are not the lowest, you can see we're at the lower third though of that when it comes to the sewer rate per 1,000 gallons, and on the minimum service fee, the same. I will say that I made the assumption when I did this comparison that all of these utilities include some sort of usage in that minimum service fee, but I will tell you that there are some of them that do not. It is just a flat fee you're paying regardless, and you're not getting anything for that besides the availability of the
That's
service.
absolutely what I have on my vacation.
Yes. So,
Just
but
pay.
again, for the purposes of comparing what we do, I did make that assumption that there was. So when you talk about a total water and sewer cost on average, again, based on 15,000 gallons in a quarter, you can see that, $158 in a quarter for an Avon Lake customer compared to, some of the utilities directly here in Northeast Ohio that are upwards of $300 in a quarter. Our services, our water and our sanitary sewer don't seem too bad. So again, this is something that Mr. Logan, myself, Mr. Yurnich, we spoke about this and felt that based on our current finances, that we do not need a rate increase, but we do need to keep up with the minimum service fee and the fixed costs. So we do have a recommended motion that, based on what was presented here tonight, that the board pass that motion.
Okay. Any questions before we go to the motion? We'll
Can
be
I
able to discuss in the motion, but have something you want clarified?
Well, just on your graphs, is there any reason that Avon isn't there or Ridgeville?
Yeah, I mean,
or rural Lorraine County?
well, because we sell them the water, so we know that they're going to have to mark it up in order for them to cover their costs. So the comparison we did were none of our bulk customers.
Okay.
That was specifically done.
I just wondered why they were omitted, and I'm sure others would say the same thing. And when you say Cleveland, that would like include Westlake and,
Yeah, I mean, the rates that were used in the comparison are the lowest published rates by every utility. So, for instance, Cleveland has different pressure zones in their distribution system, and the price goes up. So,
Okay.
meaning they have to have a pump station to pressurize it, and the cost is more to customers in those areas, mainly the further south they go.
Gotcha.
But those rates were not, again, it's whatever the lowest published rates are, is what we use.
I just kind of playing devil's advocate with your data there, because I'm sure people would question that. And that answered two of those big questions. Thank you.
Okay, any other clarifications?
Sure. We have heard about the, either from consultants and bond counsel type stuff in terms of cash reserves and where we're at financially. With the reserves we currently have, and the base rate obviously is the water rate hasn't changed, just the minimum service fee. We will maintain those levels throughout this time period.
Yes, we do feel that we're in good shape, that we will maintain those where we're at. And again, it's, as we know, we're a weather dependent type of business. We can have a very dry summer and sell a lot more water, and exceed our revenue projections. Whereas we could have a wet, if this spring is any indication, we could have a wet summer and our revenues are down. So we always approach it conservatively. And for instance, when we budget with revenue projections, we try to budget 90 to 95% of the previous budget, revenue collections from the previous budget year as a conservative type of estimation. So we do feel that we will be able to maintain our fund balances.
Thank you.
Anyone else with clarifications? Would someone like to make the motion to pass the recommended rates?
I will.
Mrs. Schnabel, please do.
I move to pass the 2026 water and sewer rate structure as presented by the CUE dated May 20th, 2025, and these rates shall take effect on January 1st, 2026.
Thank you, Mrs. Schnabel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rush. Further discussion. Mr. Ricky.
Yes, I was expecting us to be raising rates. I really thought we would be raising rates, but I had my list of reasons why I didn't think we should raise rates. Looking at what you presented here, I can swallow this very easily, quite honestly. I think the residents of Avon Lake are getting a double whammy already based on the revaluation of their properties last year, which is going to take effect in 26, as well as multiple school levies that were passed, along with a renewal of the city's operating levy. So I think that we shouldn't be piling on, so to speak. I think this is a great opportunity to demonstrate that we are doing financially well due to the management and operation of the organization, and that we can hold off adding more burden to the residents of Avon Lake. I also think that a lot of this makes more sense to me now because Mr. Logan and the work he's done on informing us on exactly where the money is and getting all the interest that we've earned, that should be more than enough to help offset the costs that we may incur in 2026 as inflation rises. So again, I think the only other thing I think we still need to be very cognizant of is our quarterly billing. We've talked about this the 10 years I've been around the board, that somewhere along the line, there are going to be residents in Avon Lake that have trouble with a quarterly bill. They can't budget, they're on fixed incomes, and we have to be cognizant of that fact. There are people that aren't as well off in Avon Lake, and they may have trouble with a monthly bill as opposed to a quarterly bill, they may have trouble with a quarterly bill as opposed to a monthly bill. So I think we need to be very cognizant of that fact and be ready to switch to monthly bills should it become a burden on our residents. And holding rates like we are, I don't think it's going to negatively impact them to the point where they need to bill on a monthly basis to kind of meet their budget. So I think that's another important thing to keep in mind. And I think that this resolution to hold pricing for 2026 on the usage makes very, very good sense, and I support it completely.
Thank you, Mr. Ricky. Any other comments, discussion from the board? I'd like to ask for a reminder from Mr. Monroe. I think this now represents 5 of 6 years with no rate increases in consecutive order. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct, yes.
So, I mean, we really have more than held the line during a very high inflation. But some credit is also due not only directly to the management of the utility, but to Mr. Monroe and I had this discussion the other day, to the work of Raf Tellis, who Mr. Monroe was instrumental in bringing in, because I think they took away the uncertainty of the dartboard in a large case. If those, Mr. Rush here to my left remembers how it was, let's say, with the previous CUE, and it was sort of like, this looks about right, and now we have, let's put, science into it a little bit, and they really scrub the numbers down and give us good financial results and the ability to continue to offer essentially the lowest rates in the state of Ohio. Okay, so if there's no more discussion, I don't know, are you raising your hand, Mr. Ricky?
No.
Okay, all right. If there's no more discussion, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of the water and sewer rates for 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, they are passed. Nice work with that, Mr. Monroe.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is show and tell, project updates by Mr. Urinich.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The power plant update, still continuing with the cleanup and bringing down the administration building in the front, the wall along Lake Road. They're working on that. This picture will kind of clarify some of what you were asking about at the previous meeting about the intake structure. They're planning on removing everything above the concrete slab that is on the lake shore. So highlighted in that picture, you can kind of see the building. That's where they brought the water in for the cooling. They had said that potentially if there were to be any future plans of anything on the lake shore, having that foundation there will streamline that process. So the building itself will be gone, but the concrete slab that it sits on is going to remain.
Sorry,
No, it's okay.
I got to silence my phone.
Moving on to the ETL design services. Thursday, May 15th, we had met with the consortium members out at Rural Lorraine County Water Authority. The COE had presented a draft cooperative agreement related to the ETLs. Had some good discussion on that. I feel like it was well received. We're going to be meeting again with the consortium members. So they've had time to review it, offer their input in a few weeks. So we can move that forward before ultimately finalizing that agreement. As far as the easements, Attorney Carr has reported that she has been in contact with all of the property owners for the easements. A few have been procured, and that process keeps moving along.
That picture that you just had up there was the chemical feed building?
Yes. Moving on to the water filtration plant improvements. It's giving you a chance for any questions.
I'm starting to know the names of the buildings anyway.
It's taking shape. It's becoming
All
recognizable.
hail, Mayor Spetzel has entered the room. Elvis is in the room.
Sorry, late.
Go ahead, Mr. Urban.
So that is the new chemical-free feed structure at the plant. They have poured the horizontal roof supports. Those have been having water run across them during the curing process. So when they're done with that, they'll strip all of the forms and supports, and that's when the trades will come in. The masonry, electrical, the interior, so they can start work towards making it operational.
Looks like an expensive hotel or, BMW dealership. Anyway, go ahead.
Moving on to the filters, you can see that they've completed the walls for the underground portion. They're moving on to what will be the floor of the filters, start building up from there. They've placed the rebar and we'll work on that in the coming weeks. So they also have had some additional effluent and backwash piping installed that will supply the water, control the backwashes to those filters. So they're really starting to make some progress there. Moving on to the TechWind project. TechWind had 2 staff members out all of last week to complete the repairs that had occurred during the shipping. We're providing just a few pictures of some of the minor damage that had incurred. Those supports that were in the first picture and kind of visible there, those were all plastic. While it offers great corrosion protection, it is a little bit more brittle than metal structures would be, but they completed all of their repairs. We're now moving on to finalizing the temporary visas that they will need when they bring their crew out for startup during the summer. I talked to Brian Stubbs of the Cleveland Water Alliance. That's something, procuring visas is not something we do on a daily basis. We wanted to reach out to him. He had provided me with a contact of someone who has great experience in that, and I'll be starting the conversation with her tomorrow morning, and we can make sure that they're prepared for when they come out this summer.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Urinich from the board, Mr. Rush?
Yes, do we have a completion date or estimated completion date for the water filtration project?
It will be late spring, early summer of 2026.
Yeah, I believe because it was just a hair over 2 years. So
Okay.
June is, I think, the scheduled.
Okay.
And as far as we're aware, we are on schedule. We have not experienced major delays.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I think that would do us then, Mr. Urinich. Correct? Yep. Okay, next item is the CUE report, Mr. Monroe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have 2 items to report on. First, Mr. Urinich did speak about the ETL consortium meeting that Mr. Dwanzik, Mr. Urinich, and several of our staff members attended. We did have our entire group there, all of our bulk customers. We obviously talked about a number of items, but the improvement project being one of them, and presented the draft agreement to them. They are reviewing those. We kind of set up framework of when we wanted to meet next, so that we can continue moving that process along. And so I think that there was good discussion. We also presented to them a draft of a proposed capital improvement plan for the ETLs. That was presented to them a couple weeks prior to the meeting. That was something several of our members had requested. And so when we did our water master plan with Stantec, we included that as part of our capital improvement planning. So there's 2 paths. We have the agreements and the improvement project, but then also identifying future projects for improving that system and its reliability. So overall, it was a good meeting. The last item I have to report on is today we did open bids for the 2025 water bundle project. This has several components to it. This is going to be a partner project with the city. We've worked closely with Mayor Spetzel, Public Works Director Liskovic, and the city engineer, Chris Howard. They have, there's bridge culvert work that they're going to have part of theirs. It involves doing some water line work that goes underneath the bridge culvert. So there was some, design work done on that as well. But then all of our streets as part of our bundle project, and also moving the remaining 400 plus water meters from inside to outside. And then there's the valves on Electric Boulevard, which Electric Boulevard main is a important main as part of our distribution system. So the bids were open today. Mr. Larson is reviewing the bid tabulation. We had 4 design or general contractors that attended the mandatory pre-bid meeting. Unfortunately, we only received 1 bid. And it was from Underground Utilities Incorporated, UUI, which we are familiar with. They are going to have a couple of subs on theirs, but they're reviewing the bids right now, and we anticipate that at the next meeting, we would have a recommended award. So.
Mr. Monroe, you make a comment about, this has happened repeatedly where people come to pre-construction meetings and we end up with one bidder after 3 of them are there together. Is this all in accordance with state auditor recommended practices? Because it seems like, wow, now that I see who's bidding, I'm not going to bid or, that kind of thing. It doesn't lead, in my opinion, to the best prices, honestly. But are we within the engineer's estimates?
We are right there. Less than 1% is the unofficial bid tab at this point. So it is right there. And, as you know, we can award up to 10% above the engineer's estimate. So I think for it to come in just under, right about 1%, I think is pretty, number one, a good estimate. And that is not disclosed prior to bidding. That is our policy. We keep the engineer's estimate. I don't even know the engineer's estimate. But I would like to thank Mr. Howard as a professional courtesy. He, with his PE license, we did ask if he could review those with Mr. Gadar retiring. Mr. Larson should have his PE license any day now, we hope. One item that him and I joked about, thought was rather ironic, is that the State Board of Professional Engineers and Professional Surveyors that issue the licenses, when he submitted his application, it has to be reviewed by a licensed professional engineer. They don't have one on staff. They farm it out to a third party.
Isn't that incredible?
It is incredible. So we're waiting on that, but Mr. Larson will have it any day now, as we know. So
I would still, have Mr. Larson supervised by Mr. Howard for the time being in the first, preparations of these documents that Mr. Gadar used to do. It is part of the quality assurance.
it is. And I will say again to Mr. Gadar that he did, as part of Mr. Larson's training over the last 8 years, he was heavily involved with this, and he gave him more and more responsibilities under his guidance, and in a good shape. So that is all I have to report on this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Monroe. How about members with reports or miscellaneous items?
A couple questions.
Mr. Mondello?
Yeah, Greg, remember late last year there was that survey sent out on the lead service EPA mandate requirements. Any update on how many we have unknown or
So we've gotten over
percent of respondents to the survey?
over 100 back with full pictures, all the information that was needed. We've gotten quite a few back that were partial, and in those cases, we try to set up an appointment for our crew to go out. Times they're just unsure what they're looking for. So we're working through that. And then in the coming months is when we're going to start our work of taking our crew out with the Vector, exposing the lines on either side so we can work on cutting down the number of unknowns. The EPA is in the process of finalizing the lead and copper rural improvements. So that will kind of help with the timing and the guidance on how soon we need to have all of this, but we're working to get those completed and make sure that it will meet all future requirements as well.
One more.
Okay,
Did the antenna get moved to the high school for the remote read?
Yes, it did.
good.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
Just to piggyback off that, that's a statewide lead and copper rule, correct?
Correct. That's a
Nationwide.
nationwide. That came from the US EPA, and that's why it's kind of in flux right now. They're still finalizing that rule at the federal level. Ohio has their comments prepared, but they're not releasing them until, they're assured of what the federal rule is going to end up at.
In Ohio, just in comparison, Ohio is one of the top 5 states for lead service lines in the country,
Meaning
meaning
high
the
volume.
most.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
So that's why it's very pertinent to Ohio. But you think about city of Cleveland, city of Cincinnati, older infrastructure cities.
Mhm.
They have a lot of work to do. And again, not knowing clear rules from US EPA and or Ohio EPA makes it a little more difficult.
I'm a little more curious about it because my son is moving into a home in Columbus next year.
Mhm.
And when there's lead releases about paint and things, but they don't talk about the pipes. And I was like, and so.
I will say that from speaking with our colleagues at Columbus on a couple of the boards that I'm on, they have a pretty robust program.
Okay.
And on Columbus Water and or now Columbus Water and Power, I think, or Water and Electric, they rebranded. But they have a very good portal on there that shows what they've done, how
Okay.
many they've identified, how many they have.
I'll circle back to you on that.
Absolutely.
Because I'm curious about where they're living.
Anything else, Mrs. Schnabel?
No.
Mr. What's your name? Rush.
Division Road, Water Tower, and Cell Tower.
Mhm.
Where are we at with that?
Yeah, so I actually just received correspondence from a third party that is interested in assuming the leases over there, building a tower, a cell tower, because we know that part of town. That's a huge complaint over there. But we would then just have a ground lease with this third party. But they would construct it and be responsible for the structure. Once that's moved over, then we can go to demo on that water tower. Now that the water bundle project has been opened, Mr. Larson and the rest of the staff are working on our demolition bid for the water filtration plant because we had to rebid that. And we will also include the demolition services at Division Road.
Do we have any time frame for division?
So we're going to try to have the bid out this year because, again, there'll be 2 parts of it. The demolition at the water filtration plant can't take place until new processes are built and online. So as we know, we talked earlier, that schedule. But if our thoughts are, if we could have it bid this year and Division Road could potentially be at the beginning part of 26, for them to, the permitting process, the zoning with the city for the cell tower, and obviously the wetland delineation report, all of that, it's about an 8 or 9 month process on that. So that would line up for demolition in the beginning of 26.
All right, thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Rush?
No, that's it.
Okay, from my standpoint, as Mr. Monroe indicated, we did present the rates. I did know about them ahead of time. But same deal for rural Lorraine, no rate increases. For them, they were happy with that, generally speaking. We have happy campers, I think, in rural Lorraine, who is our biggest customer. So I'm pleased to report that. And again, good work by their staff and ours in satisfying that need. I don't have anything else other than Mr. Rush will cover for me in the next meeting. I have out-of-town business. All right, if there's no other member reports, so let's go to public speakers. Mr. Urinich, anything?
There or not, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Phillips, you have more to say, please step forward. And then Mayor Spetzel, if you have anything.
Want to follow up on Mr. Zimmerman's comment. I mean, obviously Christmas came early and we got cold. We must have been a bad person. So that's what triggered the inquiry. And, I guess all I want to know is there was a promise. And if things have changed, just give us a response. Either, there's going to be a walkthrough, an inspection, and be able to take tests or not. Just let us know. The Avon Lake Power Plant, my understanding is all the water connections are disconnected, except obviously for one, because they're spraying water on the dust. I'm assuming that's correct. Now with the dust control, I don't know if you've driven down Lake Road while they're demolishing those buildings, which are very close to Lake Road. I mean, it's just one big haze. It's one big dust storm, even though they're putting water. I go by, I get water on my windshield, and when it goes back and forth, I got mud on the end of my windshield. So I don't know who's monitoring the air quality control, but I think it should be done. As far as the water rates, well, obviously I can't complain. They're not increasing. My analysis of the financial statement, Avon Lake Water is in very healthy financial situation. Their working capital ratio is more than sufficient to cover, the operating costs. Their debt ratio is low. As Mr. Coyne knows, I can analyze financial statements, and I go around Lorraine County bragging about how great Avon Lake is and how great I live in a community that my water rates is about $120 a quarter compared to Lorraine. Now, the chart for Lorraine, I think, is grossly understated. I don't believe it's $225 a quarter. It's more like that for a month. Mr. Ritchie's comment about raising the rates, well, taxes aren't going to go up in 2026. They already went up in 2025. I'm paying $2,000 a year more in real estate taxes this year. I wrote the check out in February. So as far as changing monthly to quarterly, you need to stay quarterly. If people want to go monthly, have it an option to go that. It's just the cost of doing monthly billing. People who want it monthly, let them opt in. I think that's a better approach. My understanding, Mr. Gator has retired, but has been hired as a consultant 3 years. It's unfortunate that he got involved in that illegal connection. Mayor Greg Zolska had no authority to tell him to approve it. As we sit here today, we still don't have a quality report on what that discharge is. My time up?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yes, it is. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Phillips. I'm sure you will be hearing from Mr. Monroe before very long. Mayor Spetzel, anything you'd like to add?
I am good, Mr. Dwanzer, thank you.
You are good. Thank you, sir. All right. We do have a request for an executive session, discuss the purchase and or sale of property for public purpose and pending or imminent court action. Would someone like to make the motion? Mr.
Before we make the motion, the official motion, I left out the
Yes.
the property.
But it's covered in your G2 or G3? one of
Yes,
those two.
I do have it listed as Ohio Revised Code section 121.22 G2 and G3.
Correct.
So
Okay, so let me, okay, so I moved the record, before starting the motion, the CUA does not anticipate any formal action by the board upon reconvening of the public meeting. Okay. I moved the meeting executive session as allowed by Ohio Revised Code section 121.22 G2 and G3 to discuss the purchase and or sale of property for public use and to discuss pending or imminent court action and to include the CUE, the CUO, and the representative from Manzer Gavin.
Thank you, Mr. Rush. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Schnabel. Roll call vote, Mr. Ricky.
Yes.
Mr. Mondello,
Yes.
Mrs. Schnabel,
Yes.
Mr. Rush.
Yes.
And chairman votes yes. We will begin the executive session when the room is cleared. Thank you, everyone, for attending and or watching, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Is that correct?